Hello, Assalamu alaikum. This is Hassan from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and I'm again today live on my YouTube channel and LinkedIn. And with me is all the way from Canada, Dr. Abdul Naveed Tariq.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum salam, Dr. Naveed. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you
Yeah,
doing in
I'm fine.
Malaysia?
Thanks. Malaysia is heavy rain, and it looks like I'm in Murray. That's the hilly area of Pakistan.
And here it is snowing.
Yeah, so we are having almost 24 degrees Celsius and rain showers. That's what is see I can read on my desktop. First of all, I'd like to thank you and giving time for this live session. And could you just introduce yourself briefly?
Right. My name is Abdul Naveed Tariq, and at the moment I am a professor and program coordinator at Seneca College of Applied Arts and Technology, Toronto, Canada. Uh, I am involved with the higher education for the last, I would say, about 25 years. This is my profession, and very briefly, I have taught in different parts of the world, including South Asia, Far East Asia, Gulf, North Africa, and now North America. I love sports. I love cricket. Uh, though it's not common in Canada, still I play in summer cricket, badminton, tennis.
Mm,
Basically, I'm a sports person.
yeah,
Yeah, this is
great,
briefly.
great. Yeah. Okay, so just a bit curious, like when you were in your primary school or early stage of your education. So, I mean, at that time you were dreaming where you are now, or that was a different career?
Absolutely different. I mean,
Hmm.
in developing countries, we are not ambition driven. We are condition driven people. Wherever the life, the opportunities take us. I mean, my father was in Pakistan Air Force, so I used to keep moving along with my father wherever he used to get posted. At the beginning, I was in Peshawar, where we used to have a Pakistan Air headquarter. So my first 2 3 years were in Peshawar. I mean, in terms of education, primary education. Then for 2 to 3 years, I was in Gujarat. I
Hmm.
did my primary there, education. Very simple, like any village school. From Pakistan Air Force School, which was a high class school, and then again it's quickly to the another extreme where we used to sit down on the floor and all, like in a village setting under the tree. That was my fifth grade. And then again, my father got posted to Chaklala, Rawalpindi, and then we moved to Chaklala, Rawalpindi, and then my 10th grade was from Rawalpindi. And then
Hmm.
again, my higher secondary, I did my FSC from Gordon College, Rawalpindi, very prestigious college.
Hmm.
This is enough, or shall I go further?
Sure, sure, it's okay. And you were dreaming to be in this business administration or commerce, I think. That's what I saw. Yeah.
No, as I said, I just mentioned, like my father was in Air Force, so I mean, in my childhood, my dream was to become a fighter pilot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's very common, and it's very interesting
Hmm.
for our youngsters to know that in subcontinent and in many Asian countries, it's quite common right from the early stage. Your parents, they guide you, they tell you. Sometimes they dictate you. They tell you, okay, this is your profession. This is what you want to become. So it was not that case in my case. I wanted to become a pilot. I tried after my 10th grade, but I couldn't. And then my brother, they said, why don't you become a doctor? I
Mm.
said, really? I was more into sports. So then I did my pre-medical from Gordon College.
Mm. Mhm.
But that year it became like an open merit, and because of only few marks, I couldn't qualify for my medical,
I see.
and I didn't know that what I lost.
Mhm.
Then I went to a field which I never thought. I went into agriculture. I did my BSc honors with the major plant breeding and genetics from University of Agriculture, Faisalabad. Never thought, never even dreamed that this is what I'm going to study. But anyway, my major was plant breeding and genetics. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I topped my department, but again, there was ban that time. It's very research oriented field, and then somehow somebody convinced me I should do MBA. Then I switched the field. Then I did my MBA from College of Business Administration. They had an affiliation with Philippine School of Business Administration.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see from my career, it was like a very. I kept moving from one target to another target, and it's very common in all developing countries. This is how it happens with youngsters in the developing world.
Yeah, I do agree with you, and that's actually advantage, I would say, for us when you do multiple discipline, and that's where I think that could be one of the reason our IQ is higher than others. I just guess. Okay, that's
Probably,
great.
yeah,
Yeah,
probably as you said, that's one of the reason. If you see at the moment, if you see the top multinationals in America, most of the CEOs you will see from India.
yeah,
You're absolutely problem solving skill, how to move along with the difficult situation, challenges when you sit down for studies. There's no electricity. Okay, now what? All those
yeah.
about. So yeah, you are right. We are problem solvers. So probably that's one of the reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Okay, for last, you are currently in a, I could see like College of Applied Arts and Technology. So my interest is more on technology. So for last 2 years or plus, we switched into a mode which most of our institutions were not ready, or they were not convinced before pandemic or COVID that there is something called online learning or fully online.
Mhm.
So how this pandemic or how this technology impact your career?
Um, I mean, I would say I'm blessed in that way because in North America and generally the college where I am, the Seneca College of Applied Arts and Technology, this is, I would say, the biggest college in Canada. If you Google it, I think full time online, all students, I think altogether maybe more than 100,000 students. We have about 10 campuses. So as you mentioned, I mean, even in management, we teach about change management, and keep in mind, uh, in management, we try to teach that people, whenever we want to bring anything new, people resist. And similarly, I mean, we were planning to convert our courses into online courses, but in the horizon, I mean, right, like in the next maybe 4 or 5 years. And
Mm,
we were planning stage by stage, like a step by step. Okay, in the coming 1 year, we'll go 2, 3 courses into online, then maybe next year. So that was our plan. But this COVID-19 pandemic, it was a trigger factor. It created that emergency situation, urgent situation. So then
mm,
all faculty members, I mean, within a 1 week time, I mean, we got a break. I remember it was 17th March.
mm,
I was teaching in one of the universities, and students told me, "Sir, there's a lockdown, and from tomorrow there are no classes." And I remember we were given a 1 week time, and in that 1 week, we were provided all the resources and all the information. And the next week, we were all online. Though,
mm,
of course, we are still learning. It's a transition phase, but the whole world went into this phase, online phase, and then we started experimenting. Many professors, they were not comfortable, but remember, when it's an emergency, then nobody even can refuse, nobody can resist. So
yes.
even those who were not comfortable, they had to, and they went into that phase. And now, right now, we are doing excellent. And now, again, we were trying to go back this current semester. We were
Mm,
experimenting a new thing, relatively new thing, that's called high flex model. In that high flex model, the whole idea was that professor will go into the class in the multimedia room. The cameras are there, the lecture will be recorded, everything. But students will have all the flexibility. They have all the options. For example, if they want to come in class, yes, they can. They want
Mhm.
to take a synchronized session or live session, that is also
Mhm.
possible. The third is if they cannot even attend online, the lectures will be recorded and material will be posted. They can learn asynchronously, but all will have the same learning experience. So that was the whole idea.
Great, great. I think you're absolutely right. All these digital transformation initiatives or projects, they were not that like on a fast-paced mode. But due to this pandemic, most of institutions or senior managements of these institutions, they expedite and they ask us to, as you pointed out, within a week you have to transform into online learning and all that. Yeah, and just to get to know more about the faculty, how they cope with this change. You mentioned change management, right?
Yeah. So as I said, there were a couple of things. One was, in this, if you have a good support system from the institutions, that is the first thing. I remember even about 20, 25 years back when this Microsoft Windows, PowerPoints, these all things came. I remember even that time, all those professors who used to be like a 50 plus years old, they were not comfortable with that. They used
Mm.
to say, "Give me chalk and blackboard. I'm comfortable. That's
Yes.
my way. I don't want to. This is all nonsense." Anyway, so
Mhm.
that was so. Similarly, even now, generally, most of the professors they use all those basics, but many of the senior faculty members they were not very comfortable. And but as I said, so the institution they provided training sessions, online workshops, they provided videos. This is how you are going to do it. And although, as I said in the beginning, and even now, sometimes I discuss and some senior colleagues they face some challenges, but there is a support from the institution. And no, I mean they are of course still. Personally also I believe that, I mean, there is no comparison when you are teaching face to face. That's the
Mm.
best, most rich form of communication. But in the prevailing circumstances, I think that's the way, and that's the future. And I don't think so we are going to go back exactly the same way, the way we used to teach.
Yes, and that was actually my following question. For like, do you think that we will go back to the normal, or we will still continue where we are now?
My feeling is we are not going to back 100% same on site the way we used to teach. Now, always we have a lots of meeting in these days. We keep discussing what should be the way.
Mhm.
Now, it seems to me like that's why, as I said, we are experimenting this high flex model. And since COVID-19 pandemic started, no, I started receiving as a program coordinator because I'm a program coordinator of Bachelor of Business Management program. I start receiving lots of emails from those alumni, those of our students who were graduated 20 years back, 30 years
Mm.
back, but they did diploma, not the degree.
Right.
Now they're approaching me. Is it possible that I'm now in
Mm.
America, I'm now in Brazil.
Yeah.
Can I complete my degree? I have 3 years
Mm.
diploma. Can I spend 1 year or 2 year? But I cannot attend classes online. Sorry, on site. I cannot
Mm.
come. Now, looking at all those scenarios and situation, it seems, and we keep discussing. So probably, I feel that it will be more like a high flex model where professors will be going into those classroom, and many students they believe and they want to come on in classes. So they will have all the flexibility. Those who like to come into the classroom, we will have that environment.
Mm.
Those who cannot come, they will also have that option. They can, wherever they are, they can attend live session. And those who are even busy in the morning time, they are in their jobs, etc., they can also watch the recorded lectures at their convenience. So it seems the future would be more like a high flex model where
Mm.
students will get lots of flexibility.
Yeah. It may be different terms we use at different countries. Here in Malaysia, we call that as hybrid classroom. So
Hmm, hmm,
something similar. And
hmm.
yes, you wanted to add something? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, hybrid here. I mean, we already had some courses hybrid. And
Mm.
that model that time was like a hybrid here. The meaning that time was like some part of the course will be in classroom,
Mm.
some would be online, discussion, online lecture, something. That was the
Yeah.
model. So this is one step ahead here, that no, here all through all those three cohorts,
Mm.
three categories of students who wants to attend in classroom, who
Yeah.
wants to attend online live, and those who wants to watch recorded lecture later, all will have the options, same learning
Mm.
experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, you are right, it is possible in different parts of the world we are using different terminologies, but end result is, yeah,
Yeah.
education. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. And looking at your profile, you have worked in different part of worlds. Like even in the farthest one is now where you are. If I
Hmm.
compare from Pakistan, and the other side, you worked in Morocco also, right?
Yeah.
Um, uh, how you found learners, in different part of the world, and particularly how to engage them. Do you found any challenge or challenges, and how you overcome to engage learners? Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, as you mentioned, I started my career. If you, I'm sure you are looking at my LinkedIn profile. I started my first full time job was in Malaysia,
Mm.
in University Tenaga National. uh, People in different parts of the world, of course, with different cultures and different class environment also. It is possible you are teaching a class in Malaysia at that time. I don't know right now what is the situation, and I have left Malaysia about 18 years now. Even at that time, if I'm teaching a class of 70 students, pin drop silence, no problem. You're teaching, and generally, Malaysian students fantastic, hardworking. If you assign them anything, of course, beautiful. So that was a different set of students. Uh, then when I and remember, our medium of instruction was English, and everything was fine. They had good, reasonable background in English. When I moved to Gulf, like in UAE and Saudi Arabia, so we had some students, for example, English was, of course, second language, like in Malaysia, but the system is also more maybe Arabic based. So suddenly, when they switched to a university, so they face this English as is a challenge. So those students, they very good students, but they had this challenge of learning and digesting English. So they had two levels. One, learning and digesting, absorbing the material in English, and second, of
Mm.
course, contents itself. But
Mm.
overall, students were very fine. We enjoyed. I loved teaching in Gulf countries. Again, when I moved to Morocco, that was again American university. That time it was, I think, the only American university, Al
Mm.
Ahwan University in in
Mm.
Afran. That was
Mm.
American university. Students were brilliant, engaged, participative, and I have. And again, it's not only the countries. Even it depends on the level. I have taught at diploma level students. I
Mm.
have taught at degree level, the undergrads, which we call it. I
Mm.
have taught masters full-time students, MBA, for
Mm.
example, and I also have taught executive MBA, for example, students. So, for example, I remember when teaching to executives. So they come up with the questions which are very realistic. They are
Mm.
an executive in some company. They will ask you, okay, I'm facing this problem in my company. What should I do? And if, I want to expand my company or product into an international market, what should I do? So they were more engaged, practical questions. We have to change our teaching style according to our audience. So generally,
Mm.
yeah, um, different audience, and but teacher has to adjust his teaching style. Yeah.
Yeah. And how far this technology helps us in managing these learners or engaging these learners? Do you have any
I,
experience? Yeah, please.
yeah, I think I mean, so far it depends on the courses. For example, there are some courses where students, they need hands-on,
Mm.
labs.
Yeah.
In those cases, this technology is helpful, but to certain extent. you
Mm.
know Even now, the priority of our institutions here in Canada and America is that we are trying to bring those courses in campus. or on campus, those needs labs, because for those
mm,
courses online setting is okay but not the best. But in some courses, for example, if those courses are more theoretical, yeah, I mean, you can very quickly, you're teaching, you want to bring in some activity, you some video case,
mm,
you can more or less, you're fine. Yes, of course, there are challenges. As I said, the distraction is one of the main issue for students right now online.
mm.
In many countries, because of the constitutions and rules and regulation, here it is not must for the students to switch on their webcam. And
Mm.
when your webcam is not switched on, it's very natural. In these days, very close to our hand is our cell phone.
Yeah, yeah.
So once we feel as a student, even if I am attending any seminar, if my camera is not on, so immediately I'll pick up my cell phone and
Mm.
probably I'll start looking at something on, and then from one to another, and then I got distracted.
Yeah.
So that is one of the challenge from online teaching perspective, that
Mm.
students concentration, the attention span is less.
Yeah. So
And
you,
that is one of the reason, here the universities and colleges, they have some of them, not all, they have
mm,
decreased online lecture time. For example, the
yeah,
same lecture which we used to teach for 3 hours, now 1 hour and 45 minutes, and rest is online. Let them
yeah.
and do their work.
Yes, I do agree. Even the screen fatigue is another issue.
Hmm. True,
Was
absolutely.
spending a lot of time on screen and all that, and even in NQA, I think maybe you heard of this term in Malaysian Quality Agency.
Mhm.
They do recommend this emergency remote learning should be half of the contact hours as compared to face learning. And
Mm-hmm.
could be this could be one of the reason which you just now highlighted. Great. Okay. My almost final questions. What would be your suggestion for a junior academician who just started career in business administration, or a student who just going to embark on maybe BBA or business
Mm-hmm.
administration? What would
Mm-hmm.
be your tips
Mm-hmm.
to reach at your level or even higher than that? Yeah.
Sure. I mean, I came in Canada in 2010, and
Mm,
I'm fantastic environment here. Couple of things which I always recommend to my students. First thing is, go for your passion. You should
mm,
go into the field which you love it, where you have passion. Don't go to a field where your parents are recommending, or you see there is sometime, and I did that, and that's why I'm sharing.
mm,
Sometimes we want to go into that field where we see, oh, there's a lot of jobs. Oh, in computer, let's go to computer sciences because a lot of job, a lot of opportunities. No, I would strongly recommend you should go into a field in which you have passion. And then, if you are into a field where you have passion, believe me, you will not be tired. You will not be exhausted. You will flourish. You will achieve that creativity, that excellence in that field. Otherwise, even if you are a good grader, good marks, you will become 9 to 5 employee. You will get a good salary, but probably you are not going to be a very creative person in that field. You will never achieve that excellence. If you are in the right field, yes, then like I always say, then you can, like in cricket, then you can become Sachin Tendulkar or Imran Khan, because
mm,
you are in the right field. Otherwise, if you, and that's why at the beginning of our this conversation I mentioned, we should not be condition driven. Try to be follow your passion, your ambitions. uh,
mm,
you will love it. And believe me, I have seen here in Canada, sometimes our success criteria is money. Believe me, that's not true. And then education, of course, here in North America, of course, Asian families, they, as we are always, they always push their kids for higher grades. Of course, grades are the best thing. They also push them for certain fields, not necessarily. So here, just for your information, these colleges
mm,
in which I'm working, these were established in Ontario. Ontario is a province, one of the provinces in Canada. There were about 24 colleges, 24 or 25 colleges in Ontario. These were established in around 1967, 69, in that era.
mm,
The main idea was that after school, after high school, students should be given a such type of education in which they acquire some skill set and they are into their business, into their field. It can be
mm,
plumber, electrician. Basically, we call them vocational or more trade careers.
mm,
And in future, already research is showing we will have a severe shortage in the future of these trade skills. So I have
mm,
seen many of my students around me, colleagues, kids, they have done what they wanted to.
mhm.
And even if you say the money is a criteria, they are making probably more money than us.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's my advice to students also. Students, those who are trying to pick a career or a field of their studies.
Yeah.
For academician, again the same thing as I said. They need to decide they want to be a researcher. Remember, after if somebody is doing PhD, generally there are three fields left. I mean, if you apply for companies, they will consider you overqualified. So three things generally left. One, you go into the universities, teach.
Mm,
Second, you do research, and third, consultancy.
mm.
So again, it some people they have more like a orientation towards research. So yeah, go do join universities. I would say the best would be universities. Join some good universities and start writing. I mean, do your research, the area
Research.
where whatever you like. Teaching is another area, of course. Yeah, for example, the colleges where I'm talking about here, the main emphasis is on teaching. So many people here we call them teaching professors. In many universities in these days, they hire, for example, University of Toronto, which is one of the best in the world. So they hire people, and those are called teaching stream professors. So they are
Mm,
not required to do research, but focus on only on teaching. That's the second thing. And the third is, of course, many people, even when they are in their universities, they do consultancy.
mm.
Yes, you can pick up the projects. You help those big organization, and yeah, you should be good.
Yeah. That's great. That's great tips you shared. Passion is very important, right? Just to summarize.
True.
And there's a joke also, they say don't blame technology, so
Yeah.
or tool. And you should know if you have a passion, whether you have tools or whether you don't have tool, you will convey your message. So that's great. Thanks once again, Dr. Abdul Naveed Tariq, for coming to my live session.
Most
And
welcome.
I'm sharing again Dr. Naveed Tariq profile on LinkedIn. So please scan this QR code and you could actually join him, be part of his network, and he do other businesses also. So he could be like working as a consultant to your business. And those who are watching now live, you can post your question in the chat. And those who will be watching replay of this broadcast, feel free to leave your comments. And if I feel like I want to contact again Dr. Naveed and get answer to your comments or questions, I will be pleased to do so. Any final wording, final statement, Dr. Naveed?
No, generally, I would say follow your passion. That's very important. You will love it. You will not be tired. You will be creative. Otherwise, it is just like when we were students. If a subject which we don't like, for example, for some student it can be chemistry, for some it can be math.
Mhm.
When we pick up a book, we start feeling sleepy, and we start looking at the wall clock. It's already 20 minutes. But if we start reading a novel which we love it, a book which we love it,
Yes.
we don't look at the clock. Maybe it become 4 a.m. Oh, then we finish the book and then we sleep and we enjoy also.
Yes.
That's the whole idea.
Yeah.
So go for
I
a field
do.
if you have a passion.
Yeah. I totally agree. I always give Hindi movie example to
Yeah,
my colleagues in lectures. Sometimes they come up with 60 plus slides. And I will say, if you
yeah.
have a very strong story behind these slides, yeah, you could engage your audience. Otherwise, after third slide, they will be in a different world, which you just now gave example. This
So,
handphone, yeah.
so
Okay.
just one thing, last thing, as you
Yes.
just reminded. So I would recommend if Hindi movies, if if my professor colleagues or students watch a movie called Three Idiots. And I think that will summarize the theme, what I said.
Yeah. Thanks for all sharing, and stay safe, everybody who are watching this broadcast, or those who will be watching replay of this broadcast. And once again, thanks, Dr. Naveed, for your time and great sharing.
Thank you
I
very much.
will end as normal with final music. Uh, just now, I shared actually my YouTube channel also, so feel free to subscribe and support. And let me play my final